When I was 22 years old, I quit my job. I worked at a bank. They called it one of Canada's big five banks because we have five of them. Who would have guessed? And I hated it. Every day I went in and I did a mindless job where you pretty much have to put on a face that's not you and lie to people and try and sell them things that they don't want and just be pushy and annoying, and it just wasn't really my forte. So one day I had enough. I hated the job, so I just kind of shit at it. I had a shitty manager and just decided, fuck it, I'm quitting. So I quit. I wouldn't find another job for about 6 months. I was looking, and those 6 months were just some super dark times. I hate thinking about that time. So eventually, I decided, okay, you know what? I don't want to go back into banking again or finance, so I found a job delivering water, and kept me physically active. I got to drive a big truck around, felt manly, and things were good. And then my 40 hours a week started to go down to 32 hours a week, and 32 hours a week went down to 16 hours a week, and it just wasn't working anymore. So finally I said, okay, next opportunity that I have at a financial place, I will apply there, and then I'll figure it out from there. So I went and I got a job at another loan shark place that was charging loans for like 49% or something like that. I don't know how that's legal, but I said, okay, I'll stay here for a while and then I'll find another job. And that was probably one of the hardest things to do in my life. That job was worse than my banking job, because not only are you trying to sell loans at 49%, you're also cold calling people who have no idea who you are, what your business is, and trying to sell them these loans that are horrendous interest rate. And you're also being a collections officer as well, trying to go through and get a hold of people who aren't paying the loans. It was an absolute nightmare. I basically used the job the whole time as like a Google search to find a better job. But I was determined not to quit it because I learned my lesson the first time. And eventually I stumbled across an ad at the paint store, and the paint store wanted somebody to work anywhere from 7 a.m. till 5:30, closed on Sundays and holidays, full-time hours, and I was like, wow, that sounds like exactly what I want to do. And I took the job, went for an interview. I was lucky enough to be able to negotiate wage because I've been through so many jobs before, so I was able to get a decent wage. It still wasn't as much as I was making at the banks, but it was a livable wage. And I've been there ever since, and I'm very happy that I didn't quit my job that I hated more than anything before, because I had learned my lesson the first time. Making mistakes is inevitable. We're all going to do it, whether it comes to fighting games, pushing a button at the wrong time, picking a wrong character, changing at the wrong time, or real life, like an example of what I just kind of described. Mistakes are something that is always going to come, and to some extent you have to kind of welcome them. One quote that I heard once that I really like is, "Every mistake is one mistake closer to never making mistakes again." And I don't know why I've always remembered that, because it's we're obviously always going to make mistakes, but every mistake that you make should eliminate some past mistake that you made, or that one in particular. You should be learning from it. One thing that I always say, especially when it comes to fighting games, is a loss is only a loss when nothing is learned. It's something I've told my team numerous times. If you sit there and you feel bad about the fact that you lost, or you feel bad about oh, it was just the character, it was just cheap, something like that, you're never going to get anywhere. Same with life. If I would have just quit the second job that I would have had, who knows where I would have ended up. I wouldn't have been happy. So as long as you know that you made a mistake, you acknowledge the mistake, and then you make sure not to make the mistake again. Sometimes that will result in a different mistake, and that's okay too. As long as you learn from everything, I have true faith that you will find your way. I know this can be especially hard as a teenager, because your hormones are going all crazy, and then you're entering a world where you're experiencing emotions that you had as a child, but as an adult for like the first time. So it's this idea of love that was something completely different as a child is now in something completely different as a teenager, and everything kind of sucks the first time something bad happens. And I can promise you, as a guy who's going to be really old next week, it will get better. I promise you it'll get better. You have my word. If things are tough or something that just kind of crushes you inside, it will get better. It always does. I promise you. And that's really all I wanted to talk about today, guys. Wanted to do something a little bit, trying to do some different things on the channel and just kind of letting you guys get to know me a little bit more than just a guy who sits and plays video games and talks about stuff. I do have lots to say and lots to share, and I really enjoy public speaking, so it's really cool that I have a platform to do it on and people who are interested enough in me to maybe listen. So keep making mistakes out there, people. If you're feeling brave enough, share a mistake that you made in the comments. Let's not get too raunchy though. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe because we make videos every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you guys in the next video.